Okay, so this week we're looking at two kind of different topics that are related to each other. The first one is just sketching straight lines, and then that's going to allow us to solve simultaneous equations graphically, so by drawing the straight lines and working out where the straight lines cross. But if we can't remember how to sketch a straight line, then we're really going to struggle with this. So that's why the opening exercise is on this. Now, I've picked two questions that we're going to look at together, and hopefully that will help. The first one is 2a. So we've been given the equation of the line, and that is y equals 2x minus 6. Now, if we go for the method that they've used in question 1 to try and talk you through it, they're basically saying to pick 3 different values of x, because that's going to give us 3 coordinates we can join up. Now, the 3 easiest values of x that we could pick would be 0, 1 and 2. So we're going to do that. We've got 3 different values of x here, and we're going to use them to draw the straight line. Now, when x is 0, we've got 2 times 0, which is just 0. Take away 6, so we would get y is minus 6. Now remember, that becomes the coordinate 0, minus 6. Okay, x coordinate of 0, y coordinate of minus 6. We think about the same thing when x is 1. When x is 1, 2 times 1 is 2. Take away 6. 2 take away 6 is minus 4. So this becomes the coordinate 1 minus 4. And then when x is 2, we would have 2 times 2, which is 4, take away 6. 4 take away 6 is minus 2. So this would be the coordinate 2 minus 2. So if we then look at a set of axes that I've drawn, and I've done the usual that we do, I've gone between minus 10 and 10 and minus 10 and 10. So the first thing we have is the coordinate 0, minus 6. So let me just do that in a different colour so that stands out. So there it is there. 0 along, minus 6 down. And then we've got 1, minus 4. So 1 along and 4 down. That would be there. And then we've got 2 and minus 2. Now, the reason we've picked 3 points rather than 2 is because if we've got one of these wrong, hopefully we'll notice. But as you can see here, and this is the bit that's hard to do with only one hand while I'm holding the phone with the other. Okay, if I use my ruler, and you don't need a ruler at home, just find anything that's got a straight edge, you'll be able to do this. You can see that they all line up nicely. Okay, and so we're going to draw our straight line, and this is going to be very interesting. Oh, there we go. Right, wait a minute. Oh dear. And yours will be much better than that because you won't be trying to hold the phone at the same time. Okay, so we've got our straight line here joining our 3 coordinates up. Now, the other way that we could have tried to draw this without doing this little table of values is think back to what we know about the equation of a straight line. We know that y equals mx plus c. So c, this minus 6 in this case, is where it crosses the y-axis, the y-intercept. And look, we've got that here. It crosses at minus 6. And also, we've got a gradient of 2, which means, remember that for every 1 we go along, we go 2 up. That's what a gradient of 2 means, because it's 2 over 1, and it's vertical over horizontal, so 2 over 1. And it's positive, so we're going up the way. So if we started at that minus 6, we're going 1 along, 2 up, 1 along, 2 up, 1 along, 2 up. That should be through there. 1 along, 2 up, and so on. Now it doesn't quite work here because my ruler slipped, but you get the general idea. We should be going through this point, 1 along, 2 up, this point, and so on. So you can see where my line went wrong. Okay, so really, we should be joining all this up. Mrs. Knack should have practiced this before she did this, shouldn't she? And that is what our line should have looked like. So we ignore this bit, and that's what our line should have looked like. So that's how you're going to do all the questions in question 2. Finding 3 points on the line is definitely more accurate, especially if you're not sure about this method at this stage. This is always going to be good enough for you, but this is another little option. Okay, now let's try another one. Let's try one of the questions from question 4. Okay, so here's one I made earlier. So I've picked a slightly trickier one. I've picked 4i. Okay, now if you do it like the method of question 3, it again just asks you to work out 2 coordinates this time. it says to you, right, work out what happens when x is 0 and work out what happens when y is 0, because actually that should be enough information if we do it correctly. So if x is 0, I've got 3 times 0, which is 0, plus 4y equals minus 12. So that would just be 4y equals minus 12. Divide both sides by 4, y would equal minus 3. So that tells me when x is 0, y is minus 3, and it gives me that coordinate, which is 0, minus 3, which is going to be there. Okay, which is, rightly enough, our y-intercept. Okay, and then, well, let's work out what happens. Where does it cross the x-axis? We should remember it crosses the x-axis when y is 0. So if y is 0, I'm going to have 3x plus 4 times 0, which is just 0, equals negative 12. Divide both sides by 3 will give me x is negative 4. So that would give me a negative 4 here, which means I have the coordinate minus 4, 0. Okay, so if we put that onto our graph here, I made it slightly bigger this time, but we have the coordinate minus 4, 0, which is there. Okay, now let's see if I can make this a little bit better this time. Joining the two coordinates up, and notice, I'm going to put this down here and see how we get on. Notice that although I'm only joining these two coordinates up, I'm making my graph much, much bigger. Okay, so that's how I have managed to draw this straight line. There is another way we could have done it though. Okay, so I'm kind of giving you two options each time. We looked at in the last example one where y equals mx plus c. Okay, so if you want, and this requires a little bit of extra work, so this might be easier at this stage for you, and that's fine. But if you want, you can rearrange this. So if we took away the 3x from both sides, we would have 4y equals minus 3x minus 12. And then if we divide both sides by 4 to get it as y equals, we would have minus 3/4 x, and 12 divided by 4 is 3. Okay, so that would tell us that our y-intercept is minus 3, and look, we've already got that. We've got that it crosses the y-axis at minus 3. And this is where it maybe gets a bit more awkward. It tells us, first of all, that the gradient is negative, and that's fine, because we've got a line sloping down like that. And it tells us that the gradient is minus 3/4. Now, that might not be the easiest to draw, but that, remember, means that for every 3 we're going down the way, okay, then we're going 4 across the way, vertical over horizontal. So if we look here, from the 2 points we drew, if we go down 3, we're going along 4. If we go down 3, we're going along 4. And these points here are the nice coordinates, the ones that would be easy to work out. Down 3, along 4. Okay, so there's two different methods to help you draw the straight line. The table of values is probably easiest for most of you at this stage, but if you can use this y equals mx plus c idea and you understand it, then you can do that also.